Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Uh, Foodie Beauty has been particularly upset with Sansacooks as of late, who has been for quite some time documenting her meals and calculating the calorie count and the fat count and, all the nutritional facts, shall we say. Right now, she is discussing her body language. So let's go through this.
Over the weekend, I was traveling again, this time to a family wedding. I was catching up with one of my cousins, and I was telling her about my YouTube shenanigans. As I described Chantal, she said, "Oh, like Ocean's 11." If you're not familiar with the movie, here's the clip that she was referencing.
Okay, I ask you a question. You have to think of the answer. Where do you look? No good. You look down, they know you're lying. And up, they know you don't know the truth.
So here's someone who knows very little about.
There's more than that to the body language, and I can't remember. I should have looked this up before I started. But if you look, it's either right or left. You are trying to remember something, and the other direction, whichever it is you're trying to come up with a lie. You're being deceptive. So those two actions also include something. There used to be a show. Um, God, I love these sort of crime shows, you guys. There used to be a show that analyzed body language, and you had to get through several stages to win. Um, and that was one of the things they were looking for, is which direction are you looking? Are you recalling a memory, or are you inventing a lie, right?
Chantal, who is watching me try to pull clips for my next video, and who could tell right away that she was lying. I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but in this video, let's take a look at what Foodie has to say in the light of Ocean's 11.
Okay.
The last mukbang is supposed to be an update for people who don't watch her live streams. So let's see what's true and what probably isn't.
So moving back to Canada for good.
Right. Okay.
Wasn't easy getting a place. Prices are out of this world.
Okay, so those were kind of softballs. Do you see her pattern of looking at the camera and looking away? Let's keep going.
One of the comments, well, the only comment that I've left on Sansa's video here, is that the only people I have ever met that are this deceptive are morbidly obese. And I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or, I don't have the background to make that sort of call, but this is just my observations in life, is that there tends to be something mentally delayed, or there's some sort of incident that they experienced where they have become morbidly obese, and they blame everyone else for their current condition. And for example, I worked for a very long time with a morbidly obese woman, and she did this too. She felt entitled to bully her peers and lie about us. and cause chaos in the office. And while simultaneously trying to butter up the execs, because she felt very jealous that the rest of the team, myself included, had more natural um, business relationships with the people around us that were based on our abilities and based on the fact that we had good senses of humor and things like that. And she felt like she needed to assert control in that situation. I have another example that I'll get to later.
When I leave, we're separating.
Hmm.
The goal is to eventually be divorced.
Okay.
Now, I know I've said this before in other videos, but using the word eventually just leaves the door open. My belief is that she would be a lot more upset if they were actually breaking up, and I'll put some links in the description box. My earlier videos are compilations of Foodie pretty much giving away their actual plan to get Salah to Canada.
Yeah, and there's a series. Okay, I'm going to get into the second example that I have here. The She is very fearful at this point that if she actually does bring Salah to Canada, he will get the citizenship and then leave her. That is her fear. And one of my other people in my life that is morbidly obese felt the same way. She has been with her husband for something like 20 years, I think, now. And it took him that long to finally become a U.S. citizen because there were some problems with how he entered the country. And in the meantime, the control just became more and more intense, and she's done this to me throughout my life too. That's why we haven't really spoken in many years now, because I finally had was like, I'm done with this. I can't handle this anymore. The constantly trying to put me down to make herself feel better about herself, puffing herself up that way. Um, it just wasn't a fair situation for me to be in a friendship like that. And it sounds like she, based on my observations of that relationship, that she was just as taxing on her husband, except that, obviously there's going to be a different dynamic there, because like I'm obviously not going to offer her any sort of human touch, shall we say. Right. But there were just dumb ass things that she would do, such as she was pretty much given everything from her father, who raised her. When parents got divorced, her father raised her. So she has never had to save to actually buy a property. She has never, she has always had a, a residence to live in, and never had to make her own way in life that way, right? While her husband was going through the process of becoming a citizen, she told me straight up that she kind of wished it didn't happen, because then he wouldn't have an opportunity to leave her, you guys. And that is what Chantel is doing too. She likes keeping him in this submissive role because he needs her. In her eyes, he needs her. I just remember, like, watching the dynamic of that was such crap. And they had this gorgeous condo with huge vaulted ceilings. And she painted the condo red and gold. And I was very kind in not pointing out that her house looked like a McDonald's, you guys. Very kind. She refused to read. I would come over and read to her. Just like reflecting on my own life now at this point.
We've just decided that is the best thing.
Yeah, you would think that somebody who has made their way in life by being a YouTuber, that she would have better equipment to work with where you're not hearing background noise because obviously they live by some sort of busy street that has a lot of sound coming from it.
So we're trying to make it an amicable separation. We just have a lot of cultural clashes.
Wow, she's getting quite a workout rolling those eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I believe that this is the classic story that she came up with so that neither one of them looks bad. By saying it's a culture clash, neither she nor Salah are to blame. It's just, it is what it is.
So it's bittersweet.
For
Julia
who?
will be staying with her dad. She's happy in this house, chasing bugs. She gets stressed very easily. I'm afraid of her doing like a 30-hour journey.
Okay, this drives me crazy every time she says it. The only reason the journey is 30 hours is because she chose a cheaper fare. The supposed 30-hour flight from Damascus to Montreal includes a 14-hour layover. That would actually be good for Julia to get out of her carrier to walk around a hotel room, but no. Foodie just doesn't want to be bothered.
Well, and on top of it, okay, so I have traveled, I have made cross country trips with cats. And Julia is obviously a cat, right? When I moved back from Virginia, I had my cat in a carrier in the car. And what tends to happen is they get freaked out and they don't really relieve themselves. So you have to plan for shorter days. Like you can't do if it was just you or you and other people, you could probably spend more time on the road. But when you're traveling with an animal, you have to have shorter days so that when you finally get to a destination, they can relieve themselves. And at least in America, there are temporary cat pans with the sand in it where you can buy them at pretty much any store like a Walmart or like a Target or a Petco, whatever. And you rip off the top of it and there's just a bit of sand in it. You put it out and they will use that overnight and relieve themselves, right? There are also services that you can hire to transport your cats on plane, right? And we did that for one of the cats. There were 3 cats that we had to move over the course of a few years that we did this. One cat successfully did this program where you just have to make sure the vaccinations are up to date, that they have the airline approved carrier, and that you've made arrangements for drop off and pickup. Now, my ex boyfriend wanted to transport both of his cats using this service, but they do open the carrier at the beginning of the trip to inspect the cat. I guess they're looking at their orifices and making sure you haven't shoved drugs up their ass or something like that, right? But one of his cats was super skittish and escaped when that happened. So he was not approved for travel, so we had to actually transport him the whole country and do the slow journey again. Um, but there are ways of transporting an animal. Now, she also has said that based on Julia's breed, she's not approved for travel. I have never heard of that before, so I don't know what that is, because if she was going to actually fly with Julia, she could have the airport bag rather than the full size carrier that they require if they're going in the cargo hold. And as long as she's small enough to fit under the seat in that cargo, the airport bag, she would be allowed in the cabin with Chantel. So it seems to me she didn't do her research here, but as far as we can tell, based on the way she has been treating cats over the years, she doesn't really care. They're props. They're props to make her look human. And she knows that she has a problem with being unrelatable. Because if she actually cared for herself and wasn't facing all of these mental delays and issues and things, she wouldn't be in the condition that she's in right now. Now, we can't tell if that image is flipped, because oftentimes when she films, she has a flipped image. But one side of her face, and on this footage, it appears to be the right side, but I think it's actually the left, and we're looking at a flipped image, is much larger than the other side of her face. It's very puffy. So I don't know what that's about at all. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I have no clue what's going on with her health, and she does not go to the doctor enough considering what she looks like, right? She has some sort of club foot that's like hanging out to the side and stuff. She's probably putting a lot of damage on her joints, carrying all that weight on such a small frame. Anyhow, let's continue.
Third. I'm pretty sure that this part of the plan means that Salah would just bring Julia when he comes. She pretty much says this in my earlier videos about this subject.
I've been dealing with dark spots my entire...
This whole major life change is bittersweet. Obviously. But necessary.
Right, because now that the bankruptcy is supposedly paid off at the end of October, she can begin the process of trying to sponsor him. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it'll happen for sure. I'm just saying that they'll try.
Bittersweet because obviously there's going to be like a lot of things that I'm going to miss.
Okay.
About Syria? I'm not leaving because something I don't like being here.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of dishonesty coming out of her mouth, and I don't know why um, she needs to invent her life story rather than just live it, enjoy it, and obviously she's a very miserable person. Going back to my friend who is morbidly obese and also did not want her husband to get citizenship, he recently got citizenship this year. Like I said, I'm not in touch with them anymore, but we are Facebook friends, so I do get the updates. And his entire reasoning for being in the States was um, that in Peru he was being politically persecuted for being related to a certain politician or something like that. That was the story I was told. As soon as they got him the citizenship, they planned a trip back to Peru. If it was that dangerous, okay. So, anyway, I think what is happening right now with that particular couple is they are getting citizenship in 3 countries. So he's going to sponsor her, I think, in Peru. So she'll have that citizenship because they spent some time down there. This is my guess. This is my assumption. So now they have US, Peruvian, and then they flew to France, where she is already a dual citizen in US and France because of her parents. So now she's going to sponsor him in France. So they will have 3 countries that they can go and live, which is great. I mean, if you had that option, you'd take it, right? But it's just such a wild thing to have this whole story that you cannot possibly go back to your homeland because of XYZ. And then, oh, bam, I'm back home. I just don't even get it.
The hospitality here, the people are just so amazing. Like, seriously. And I'm obviously gonna miss Salah, Julia.
When Foodie shows up again live streaming in Canada, she won't be able to hide how much she misses them. That's her ultimate tell, especially when she's high as a kite.
I feel like I'm muted.
It's going to be ups and downs, I think, Sansa, because, um, yes, she feels like she needs to cling on to this, like, but she's not getting from the hints that she's been giving us. She is not actually sexually active with Sla. She's not getting that sort of attention from him. He is another prop, just like Julia in her online story, really. So I think we're gonna see some crazy ups and downs coming out of her. On the one hand, she's gonna be glad that she has access to better fast food. On the other hand, she's going to be like, but I don't have my man. I don't have my prop that can stand next to me and look all hot and sexy, right? Which most of us look at him and think, oh my God, no, thank you. But okay, so we're going to see how how crazy she gets.
in a lot of ways. And I feel like a part of me has always felt that way. But what made it easy to stay was the comfort.
Yeah, what comfort.
And the love.
Okay. He seemed like an abusive brother who was just constantly tormenting you, girl. I mean, like, okay.
Did you hear how defiantly she said that? It's as if emphasizing the fact that there was love there makes it all okay or real.
Yeah.
While I do believe they developed some sort of friendship or arrangement, it doesn't feel like an actual marriage. Not at all.
I have a lot of insecurities.
Yes. Okay, that's true.
About cultural norms and expectations here.
And you also eat your feelings and pass it along as a mukbang, right? Which has not been good for anybody who participates in that particular cultural phenomena, right? So, you found an excuse to binge eat, and um, you don't even look like you enjoy your food at all. Half of the time, you're just shoving it down your throat, and not letting your taste buds even participate.
Having children, being older.
Right.
Now, personally, I think this is just another extra detail that she threw into this false narrative. Before this point, she was kind of proud of the fact that he was a younger, hotter man. And now, all of a sudden, it's an issue.
And at this point in my life, I've realized I just want to have enter an era of like complete peace. No one having any expectations from me.
I've already actually seen this footage. I just didn't see until this morning because this just came out like a little under an hour ago. Sansa's cut of it, but one of the things that the other reactors were noticing is that when the call to prayer happens, she just continues eating. Like, she doesn't have a moment of reflection, or she's just so disrespectful to the entire culture. And you would think that if you actually had converted to, or as they say in the Muslim religion, reverted, as though you've always been a Muslim and you've finally come back home, I guess, right? Um, you would think that, especially for new people to the religion, that that would be meaningful. That would be something that you would appreciate and observe. And she just keeps pouring food down her mouth, you guys.
And there you have it. That's the most authentic statement she's made in this entire video. No one, not Salah, not her family, not her Beezers, no one should expect anything from her.
That's true.
Canada is all about doing what she wants, when she wants, how she wants to do it. Drop me a line in the comments and let me know what you think. I'd love
I'm putting the link in the description of my commentary on this. So please subscribe to Sansacooks. She's been doing some great reactions, and she really has broken down like the calorie counts and everything around what's going on with Chantal. Um, but yeah, this was, I mean, girl, you need to start taking care of your health for real, because you're not gonna your days are numbered at this point by the way you're treating yourself. You are treating yourself so disrespectfully. And you're right, you are insecure. And you don't have to be. If you took charge of your life and stopped relying on everyone around you to take care of you, you would feel better about yourself. Good luck, girl.